Hello, this room's almost finished. I've done the ceiling, I'm happy with it. I've done the walls, I'm happy with it. I just need to do another coat on them two doors, that little strip of wood, that piece of wood there. I'm going to do the windowsill again because it just looks a bit thin where I did it last time. And I'm going to do the skirting boards. But what I'm going to show you now is putting on the tape, because originally I did paint the skirting boards before I had the carpet fitted. That makes sense, so you haven't got to cut in across the bottom. But I was in a rush because a few different problems, but the carpet guy was coming the next day and I had to let the paint dry before the morning. So I was in a rush. I can't remember, no, I don't remember if you remember, but I did the skirting boards, but I didn't put tape on. I didn't need to, but also I didn't sand the skirting boards down, which I normally would do because, well, you should do anyway. But I don't know if the last people painted it with satin paint or gloss paint. I think the top coat is satin. It doesn't feel very shiny, but under that paint there might have been gloss years ago because it's an old house. So in the 70s, 80s, 90s, they probably used gloss at some point. But if the top coat's satin, then it should be okay to do satin on top. I didn't put tape on the top because I don't need to, because I knew I was going to do a wall coat anyway. But I'm really good at painting, so I'm not even going to use tape to the top. I cut in real neat anyway. It's not going to be perfectly neat because these skirting boards are old and they've had the house replastered. So the skirting board, I think, sits in the wall and the edge of the plaster is getting closer and closer and closer to the edge of the skirting board. So I'm just going to follow the line. I've obviously then done a white coat of satin before the carpet. I'm not too happy about, but it'll do. Then I did the wall coat, so that's aligned quite good across there. So now when I cut in again with the white, I'm just going to follow the paint, follow the good line. It's not going to be perfect, like a perfectly straight, sharp, crisp line, but it'll be neat, like no splashes and no runs and things like that. But like I said, today I'm going to put the fog tape down. So I've started at that corner. I go right to left because I do little strips at a time, maybe that much, then that much, then that much, slightly overlapping. So it's going to waste a little bit, but if you ripped out the whole length of tape all in one go, you're going to get carpet stuck to it. It's going to be a mess. It's going to roll up. It's going to fold up. So you make a mess of it. Also, you can't hold the roll while you're pushing up against the wall and tucking it down the back of the carpet. So I rip off a little bit at a time. I go right to left. So when I rip it off after, I'm going to rip it off left to right. So then you can rip off a little section and that'll be on top of the next section. So if your little section can rip off, you can bin it. Then you can peel the next section off. That'll be on top, then you bin it. If you taped left to right and then you ripped off left to right, you'd end up having one long roll, which tangles up, you get paint everywhere, it can be messy. So it's just better to do little sections. What you find is some people take the tape off when the paint's still wet, but then you can have wet paint on the tape and then the carpet's going to touch the tape and the skirting board. So the carpet's going to get white on it and you'll see it because it's a grey carpet. So I'm going to leave my paint till it dries fully, then I'll take the tape off. You might get a little line on the paint where you've painted to the tape and then the line below the tape. You might get a little line. It's not too bad because it's carpet, not like a vinyl floor. That little line will be invisible because the thickness of my carpet is so thick, it's going to fluff back up and hide that little edge anyway. But what I can do is, while I'm taking the tape off, use a blade like this and then push the tape down to like rip it off the paint instead of just ripping the paint. Instead of just peeling the paper up, which could lift your paint off that you've just done, push it down like that to separate the paint and the tape, and then peel the tape off and up and away from the wall and away from the skirting board and away from the carpet. Roll it as you go, and then follow yourself with the bin bag. Get the bin bag, and I'd roll the edges down so it's just like a donut on the floor. Drop your paper into it, as you go. But what I want to show today now, it really is the taping part, because I'll show you a wrong way of doing it, or not the right way I want to do it, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. So you can see there, the skirting board's not great. It's got marks in it and stuff like that, but you're not going to see them far away. There is a little bit of flicker from the rolling, but not too much. So I'm just going to put the tape down. I'll go over it with a hoover or a duster, and then I'm going to just give it a slap of paint. I can't get them perfect because they're 10, 20, 30, 40 odd years old skirting boards. So I'm not even going to bother, because look, there's a little mark in the wood there. So they're not brand new skirting boards. That's okay, as long as the paint looks neat. So if I put it there, so demonstration number 1 would be the wrong way. Right, so this is proper frog tape as well. The green frog tape, there is a yellow one and an orange one. The green frog tape is for satin paint. The yellow one, the orange one, can't remember which one's which. One of them is for freshly painted plaster, I think, or freshly painted wood. There's different ones for gloss or matte or satin, or different paints and different, I'm not really sure which one's which, but I know the green one is for satin paint. You can put it on carpet and not freshly like wet paint, so it's good. Now, I don't want to waste too much, but the wrong way to do it would be to get your tape and then just stick it up the wall like that. Because really, if I push it like that, I can still see. You can still see there's carpet there. So any runs, you're going to touch that carpet. When you pull the tape away, you're going to end up with a line of paint on the carpet. What you want to do, says me, it's hard to talk and camera and tape at the same time. Right, so I've got it there. I'm going to rip off a bit of tape. I'll go for just like 6 inches or so, just to demonstrate. If I get it from the full length of the shot. I need to overlap the bit I just done. Instead of putting the paper tape against the wall like that, I'm going to put it about 1 centimetre further in and up the skirting board. But don't stick it to the skirting board. So it goes up like that. Then what I'm going to do is pull it away from the skirting board and try and tuck that excess tape down. Don't want it to stick to the wood yet. I want it to go down, down, down like that. And then I'm going to get your filling knife or your scraper, not a sharp one, but just your edge like that. You could use a ruler or something quite wide, not too sharp. Don't use like something that thin. It's got to be at least 1 inch or 2 like that. And then gently pull the tape away from the skirting board and tuck that edge down. Don't pierce it, but you're going to tuck it down. Now, some skirting boards are easier than others, because if you had a new build with the new type of skirting board, most of the time they leave a gap in between the floor and the skirting board. So you're technically pushing this tape under. If there's the skirting board like that, and there's a gap here, you're pushing it under the skirting board, so it completely covers the carpet. My skirting boards do go all the way down to the floor, but where you got the gripper's probably not up against the skirting board. It's probably a little gap. So you're trying to get this tape to go down that gap. The good thing about frog tape is it's got a chemical in it. I don't know exactly what it is or whatever, but it's not like normal masking tape. It's got some chemical in it. So when the paint touches it, it'll dry quicker and it won't run. So hopefully, unless you put loads and loads and loads on, as soon as that paint touches that edge there, it'll absorb it. Right, so now, if I look closely, I can't see any paint, any carpet. This has actually gone down under there. And you can't see any carpet now. Now what I'm probably going to do is, this is just a second coat, like I said, I've done it already. I'm probably just going to do this part here really good. And then about there, I'm not going to push my brush really deep down. I'm not going to load my brush up loads, so there's not going to be a lot of paint there. I'm going to very finely put the paint there because no one's going to see it. This tape now, you can see it's gone lower than the height of the carpet. So that's the height of the carpet there, probably a bit higher when it's not squashed down. So really, I've only got to paint to there. Anything below that, you're not going to see. So if I gently do a little bit below, I'm not going to go mad touching the tape. So I don't really care about down there because it's real thick. It's a thick carpet. So I've technically pushed the carpet down. I'm going to paint down to there. Then when I take the paint off when it's dried, you won't see that line there. But no paint will go on the carpet. I'm not going to tape the wall because you can see there it's quite neat. It's not perfectly crisp and straight, but it's going to be a neat one line. I'm just going to follow the line of the paint. Now, I did know I was going to do the skirt boards again, so I might actually go to the corner there, but you get what I mean. So this is more about the tape. I've gone for the corner, up, across, down, across. Like I said, I've done from the right to left, about 6 inches or so at a time, just to make it manageable. I'll do the next bit, next bit, next bit. Under the door, all I'll do is get a piece of plastic or a piece of cardboard or a cloth and push it under the door. So I'll paint the door while it's over the carpet edge a bit. So no tape needs to go there. I got a bit of an angle corner there in the back to the start. I'm not going to sand it. I'm just going to dust it, hoover it, and then paint it. When I'm doing the windowsill, I'm just going to put my sheet on the floor here in case I spill it. I have already done underneath, so I'm not going to go crazy under there because no one's ever going to see it, but I always do it anyway. But I'll do it under there. I'm going to cut in around the window, not too crazy because somebody, whoever painted it last, painted on the windows frame. So instead of stopping here, they've painted all up to the edge here. So I might leave it, as I said, this room, I was going to just drop my standards, or I might get some scraping onto it or some paint stripper to help me get the paint off. So not too crazy about the edges because I might neaten up later on. And then I'm just going to paint around here. All I'll do is chuck a sheet on the floor there. That's a double duvet or a sheet. I'll put it on the floor there. So no cutting in, tape needs to be put on there. No tape needs to go on here. All I'll do is open the doors when I'm doing the edges and then gently close the doors. I can hold it with the finger like that. So I'm not going to paint on the frame because I'll just gently pull away like that. But yeah, like I said, I don't use tape for the top to cut in. I'm just going to use tape on the carpet.